House will please be in order. Those persons not having privilege of the floor, please vacate the chamber. All members and guests in the galleries will please rise as we are led in prayer today by Pastor Nick Daly, guest of the gentleman in the 46th District, Delegate Campbell.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we just thank you for your many, many blessings. God, we thank you for another day of life in this wonderful state. God, this creation that you have granted us the opportunity to live in. Lord, I just pray right now that you would help guide with your wisdom these men and women who have courageously stepped up for their friends, their families, their communities, to help us lead West Virginia into something better for all of the people of West Virginia, God, that we would see prosperity come to West Virginia, God, that we would see opportunity come to West Virginia, God, for your people, God. We thank you so much for your blessings, God. We thank you so much for your Son and his sacrifice, God, that we might live in a relationship with you. God, we long for the day that we get to see your kingdom and your governance and be in your presence for all of eternity. And God, we thank you again, and it's in Jesus' name that we pray and ask all these things, and amen.
Amen. Please remain standing as we are led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by the gentleman in the 73rd, Delegate Smith.
Good morning, colleagues. Please join me as we honor this great nation and for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Members and guests may be seated. Reading of the Journal.
Journal of the House of Delegates, February 11th, 2026.
Gentleman in the 44th, Delegate Root.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that further reading of the Journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read.
Gentleman in the 44th, ask unanimous consent that further reading of the Journal be dispensed with and that it be approved as having been read. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Introductions. Introductions. Gentleman from the 40th, Delegate Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we have coming down from Summers County, Talcott Elementary School, my granddaughter, McKinley Tabor, if she would stand up. And up in the North Gallery is her dad, Robbie Tabor, if he would stand up. Please make them feel welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from the 47th, Delegate Canterbury.
Thanks, sir. Delegate Campbell and I have a page here today. Owen Harless from Eastern Greenbrier Middle School and his mother Becky is in the North Gallery. Would they please stand in the house, make them welcome?
Gentleman from the 8th, Delegate Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a couple groups I want to introduce this morning. First of all, there's the distinct honor today to recognize a couple of very special students from my district who attend Tyler Consolidated High School. The West Virginia Secretary of State's office hosts the prestigious Jennings Randolph Award for Civic Engagement. This award is designed to recognize the state's high schools for their student-led involvement in West Virginia's voter registration process. The principal of any high school that earns the award is then eligible to nominate 2 students who were active in the voter registration effort to be recognized as an honorary Secretary of State. Tyler Consolidated High School in Tyler County, who I might add had 100% registration rate, is one of this year's Jennings Randolph Award winners, and the school is represented here today by their honorary Secretaries of State. Seated in the North Gallery here today with West Virginia Secretary of State Chris Warner are Lily Thompson and Day Nelson. I would like to ask them to please stand up for the House to recognize them and make them feel welcome. Then, Mr. Speaker, I also have a couple more groups I want to introduce. We have a couple of schools from my district here for YLA's Youth and Government Seminars, which, as you know, means quite a lot to me. First of all, in the North Gallery from Tyler Consolidated Middle School, I'd like to recognize Ed Underwood, the teacher, Aslan Henthorn, and Prentice Cans. Please stand and make the house make you feel welcome. And then finally, in the West Gallery from Shortline School in Wetzel County, my friend Jennifer Stutzman and students Justin Anderson, Jayla Dallison, Maddie Bassett, and Cannon Briggs. If the House would please make them feel welcome.
Gentlelady from the 15th, Delegate Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, everyone. If you'll turn your attention to the North Gallery, I'd like to introduce a guest from Wirt County, our chairman of the Wirt County Republican Executive Committee, Angie Adams. Please make her feel welcome to be here.
Gentleman from the 68th, Delegate Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Joining us today from the heart of West Virginia and Barber County in the West Gallery, we have a contingent from the YLA. We have, if they would please stand, Reagan Darty, Ari England, Kinsey Smith, Avery Schaefer, Macy Campbell, Madeline Phillips, Olivia Turner, Jocelyn Halbert, Maddox Weiss, Rustin Harris, Tyler Farr, and Talon Carbajal. They're escorted by Lacey Darty and Jamie Kittle. Could you please give them a warm house welcome?
Gentleman from the 23rd, Delegate Worrell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two introductions this morning. I want to start first with a page we have this morning, Izzy Young, if she would stand up. She's visiting us from the village of Barbersville. And up in the top corner in the West Gallery is her mother, Ashley Young, who brought her today. If they would both stand in the house, please make them feel welcome. And Mr. Speaker, today is Hospital Day at the Legislature, and we have visiting with us today hospital representatives and healthcare workers from across the state. So if you have some hospital reps visiting from your local community, please take a moment to thank them for their service in caring for the health of our citizens. You know, hospitals play a critical role in improving the health of our citizens, and last year, West Virginia hospitals delivered 16,000 babies, I had one of those, and treated patients with over 6 million visits in outpatient departments, more than 800,000 ED visits, and 330,000 inpatient discharges. Hospitals also play an important role in our economy, employing nearly 54,000 people, contributing almost over $1 billion in community benefit and almost 17 billion annually to the state's economy. Our hospitals also provide $182 million in uncompensated care and $92 million in documented community benefit activities that subsidize health services, community health improvement initiatives, and health professions education. We also don't want to forget that our hospitals are an important part of our educational system, with instructional programs that provide for a wide range of services and technical and professional positions. So I'd ask my colleagues to please join me in a round of applause for these fine, compassionate caregivers from around the state. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 72nd, Delegate Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the West Gallery, I have two constituents of mine and my neighbors. Would Bob and Nellie Orsborn please stand, and the House please make them welcome.
Gentleman from the 66th, Delegate Kyle.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First today, I have my beautiful daughter Reagan in the North Gallery with us. If you guys will please make her feel welcome. Reagan is joined by nearly the entire senior class at Taggart Valley High School, my alma mater in Randolph County, who also today are being recognized for earning the Jennings-Randolph Award for the class all registering to vote. And the two students who are Honorary Secretary of States today are Jackson Collier and Brielle Arbogast. If you guys will please make them all feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 28th, Delegate Browning.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introducing today's West Virginia School of Family Physicians Doc of the Day, Ms. Dr. Allie Bowman, if she could stand, and if the House could please make her feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 17th, Delegate Pinson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm joined today by the team of Leadership Mason County and constituents from Mason County. So on behalf of myself and Delegate Butler, I'd like to introduce you to the following individuals. If they'd please stand as I call their name first. We have Chase Uten, Destiny Dotson, Jen Moore, Mandy Matheny, Maddie Sayre, John Ramirez, Leanne Shepard, Emily Bechtel, Heidi Wood, Larry Jones, and County Commissioner Rick Hanley. If the House would please make them feel welcome.
Gentlelady from the 31st, Delegate Mazzocchi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of Delegate Jordan Bridges and me, we have pages here from Beth Haven Christian School. The first girl is Bridget Vance, then we have Larry Vance and Matty Dillon And in the West Gallery, we have the principal, Regina Vance, and the teacher, Daryl Wellman. If you all would make them feel welcome, thank you.
Gentlelady from the 63rd, Delegate Dibman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am delighted to announce 2 pages today. They are from Braxton County High School, 10th graders. They are rising leaders. They are involved in a lot. First, we have Nevaeh Flint. Will you please stand? And she plans on being a lobbyist someday. And next, we have Alexander Dennison, who is going to be a neurologist, and they are joined by their mothers that are sitting in the North Gallery, Julia Dean and Amber Dennison. Please make these outstanding students welcome. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 7th, Delegate Sheedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of myself, Delegate Bell, Delegate Statler, and Delegate Riley, I would like to make 2 announcements today. In the West Gallery, we have from 100 Heritage School, and if they would stand, teacher Ashley Fry and student Madison Thayer. Could they please stand and give them a big hand for being here today? And from New Martinsville School, which happens to be Mr. Bell's school, otherwise known to us as Delegate Bell, from the 8th, we have teacher Amy Little, students Alyssa Kelly and Kalish McNeil. Please give them a warm welcome to the legislature today.
Gentleman from the 45th, Delegate Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of all of us on the Fayette County delegation, I'd like to welcome a few folks that are here today for the Youth in Government program that's taking place today and tomorrow, and as well as yesterday. And I think they all made it to the South Gallery. I'd ask them to stand as I call their name. First from the Oak Hill area, we have Tessa Adkins, David Bigelow, Caitlin Bowles, Annalie Chernard, Lucas Christner, Silas Lagos, Paisley Persinger, Chloe Robinson, Jackson Shrewsbury. Their chaperones today are Ty Branovich and Ashley Chernard. From Meadow Bridge, I have Matthew Carruthers, Mallory Fox, Nathan Goddard, Tegan McClintock. Their chaperones are Charlie Redden and Alicia Ryan. And from Valley, I have Adriania Jackson, Bella Witt, Ethan Lovejoy, and the chaperone is Diane Beard. Would my colleagues please make these future leaders of West Virginia feel welcome?
Gentleman from the 99th, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Folks, today is Motorsports Adventure Day, so if you haven't had a chance to go around the Capitol and take a look at some of the fine toys, please make sure you get that opportunity today. Up in the South Gallery, we have some folks from Motorsports Adventures Days. We got Cameron Ellis and Ashley Hatfield from Gilbert CVB, and then we have a fine friend of mine from all the way from Detroit, Michigan, and one of the founders for West Virginia Hill Fest and for Festive Events, Mr. Tom Zielinski from Z Performance. Give him a big round of applause. Thank you all.
Gentleman from the 33rd, Delegate Bridges.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a few pages I'd like to announce to on behalf of myself and Delegate Margita, if they would stand when I say their name. Landon Vance, Ken Lee Shepard, Brooklyn Rogers, and Bella Mead. And obviously I want to repeat their names, but Regina Vance and Mr. Daryl Wellman, they're the chaperones and the principals. So if everybody would please give them a warm welcome, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Gentleman from the 24th, Delegate Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a page with me today. She's from Grace Christian School, and she is my niece. And she's walking around looking at me right to look at her with that smile on her face. That is Mackenzie Adams, and she is accompanied today by her mother, Nikki Adams, who's in the West Gallery. Please stand, and everyone make them feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 4th, Delegate Flanagan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If the House could help me make a constituent of mine feel welcome, Andrew Matson, if you could please stand in the South Gallery. He's coming all the way down from Valley Grove to see how things work here. And thank you very much.
Gentleman from the 44th, Delegate Roop.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I am happy and proud to announce, and along with the Raleigh County delegation, Miss Mary West, who is here today, along with Captain Liz of the Salvation Army, Kelly Gano, and several others that Miss West has brought with her. If they would stand and we'd make them feel welcome. And I also have a group of 8th graders from Raleigh County here today for Youth and Leadership Association, along with their chaperones, Mr. Moore and Mrs. Kincaid. If they would stand and we can make them feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 87th, Delegate Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In the South Gallery, we have Ben Burr. He is here for Adventure Motorsports Day at the Capitol. He is from New Harmony, Utah, and serves as the executive director of the Blue Ribbon Coalition, a nonprofit organization dedicated to protecting responsible public land access and defending the rights of outdoor recreation enthusiasts from across the country. I would ask him to stand and please make him feel welcome.
Gentleman from the 80th, Delegate Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to have guests with us today in the West Gallery. We have some students from the med school at WVU Medicine who are finishing up a 2-week health policy and advocacy rotation with the West Virginia State Medical Association. We have Jess Reichel, a 4th-year medical student matching in emergency medicine. We also have Rushni Majunath, a 4th-year medical student who's in the Rural Scholar Program at Harpers Ferry. And with them is their preceptor, Dr. Lisa Costello. If they would please stand, or if the House would give them a warm welcome.
Gentleman from the 32nd, Delegate Holstein.
Look good up there. Joining us today, we've got a bunch of students from Boone County, several joining us in the South Gallery with their teachers, Miss Paula Meadows. We have the students from Sherman Junior High School, Donovan Harless, Gracie Kennedy, Harrison Morris, Abigail Pratt, Tyson Rogers, Quentin Sechrist, and again, as I said, they're with their teacher, Miss Paula Meadows. If the House would give them a round of applause, please. And also, Mr. Speaker, from Van Junior Senior High School, we have Emma Mooney, Emmeline Moore, Isabella Bias, Chelsea Brown is their teacher, and she's joining them there as well, if the House would make them feel welcome. And finally, Mr. Speaker, we have some pages from Madison Middle School who's accompanied by their teacher, Miss Mallory Kennedy. If they would stand, and she would stand also, I see her in the galleries. If they would stand, Jaylee Egner, Skylar Barker, Jillian Eldridge, who is the daughter of Delegate Eldridge, Adrienne Gregory, Raylan Green, and Emily Haynes. If the House would please make them all feel welcome. Thank you.
I also have some distinguished guests today. If I could direct your attention to the South Gallery. I have the leadership team from WVU Medicine Jackson General Hospital. And if you'll stand when I call your name, I'd appreciate it. Candace Miller, President and CEO. Holly Hill Reinhardt, Chief Medical Officer. Jeff Tabor, Director of Operations. Will Smith, Director of Finance. Kelly Nybert, Manager of Ambulatory Clinic Operations. Shara Shamlin, Communications Director or Manager. Chad Foreman, Pharmacy Manager. Terry Orn, Imaging Services Manager. And last but certainly not least, Edwina Waybright, Executive Assistant. Would the House please make them feel welcome?
And friends, we would all be remiss not to call out and recognize our former colleague in the back. Delegate Amy Summers and her husband Rod are on the back wall with us today. Further introductions. further introductions? If not, standing committee reports.
Your Committee on Health and Human Resources had under consideration House Bill 4852 relating to regulation of foods and reports committee substitute back therefore with recommendation committee substitute do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4999 relating to crimes against athletic officials and reports committee substitute back therefore with recommendation committee substitute do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4106 allowing constitutional carry for 18 to 20-year-olds and House Bill 4452 to remove more main restrictions on religious organizations and reports the same back with recommendation each do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 4405, expanding the reasons that an executive director may create, merge, or dissolve a public defender corporation. Reports same back with the recommendation that the bill do pass, but first be referred to your Committee on Finance.
Report to be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Education has had under consideration House Bill 4573, Foster Youth Post-Secondary Transition Awareness Act, and House Bill 4592 relating to college campus safety, and reports committee substitutes back therefore with the recommendation that each do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works has had under consideration House Bill 4993 relating to authorizing green flashing warning lights on division of highway vehicles and other equipment at the discretion of the Commissioner of Highways, and reports committee substitute back therefore with recommendation committee substitute do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works has had under consideration House Bill 4464 relating generally to underground facilities damage prevention, and House Bill 4471 approves sewage systems for rental property, and reports committee substitutes back therefore with the recommendation that each do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works had under consideration House Bill 4426, ensure state road construction account funds are in addition to general highways funds provided to the DOT districts, and report the same back with recommendation that do pass, but first be referred to your Committee on Finance.
Report to be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Finance.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works had under consideration House Bill 4419, requiring certain non-discretionary procedures be strictly complied with by the West Virginia Parkways authorities before tolls, rents, fees, or charges may be increased. Reports the same back with the recommendation that the bill do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on Energy and Public Works has had under consideration House Bill 4976 to add definitions for special plates of Class G vehicles, and House Bill 4983 authorizing the Department of Commerce to promulgate a legislative rule relating to certification of a microgrid district or certification as a high-impact data center, and reports the same back with the recommendation that each do pass.
Report to be received.
Your Committee on the Judiciary has had under consideration House Bill 5101, the Joanna Phillips Domestic Violence Prevention Act, and reports the committee substitute back therefore with the recommendation the committee substitute do pass.
Report to be received. Other standing committee reports. If not, select committee reports, executive messages, Senate messages.
The Clerk of the Senate announces that the Senate has passed the following bills. Committee substitute for Senate Bill 30, allowing 18 to 20-year-olds to carry concealed weapon without permit.
Message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 473, creating felony offense of using electronic device to threaten violence.
Message will be received. The bill will be referred to the Committee on Judiciary.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 694, removing county residence requirements for county superintendent of schools.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Education.
Senate Bill 404, relating to Department of Human Services authority to contract with certain providers.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 543, requiring Bureau for Social Services to file legislative rule.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health and the Committee on Judiciary.
Senate Bill 604, extending Alzheimer's disease and other dementia advisory council sunset date.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 633, relating to West Virginia Commission on Holocaust Education.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Education.
Senate Bill 645, prohibiting surprise billing of ground emergency medical services by non-participating providers.
The message will be received and the bill will be referred to the Committee on Health. Are there further Senate messages? If not, resolutions, petitions, bills introduced.
House Bill 5457, to allow partial credits for times of disability service in the CPRB for troopers.
Gentleman from the first.
Mr. Speaker, unanimous consent that the further reading of the bills introduced be dispensed with, that each bill be considered as having been formally introduced and referred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the chamber automation system.
The gentleman from the first asks unanimous consent that the further reading of bills introduced be dispensed with and that each bill be considered as having been formally introduced and deferred to the appropriate committees as indicated on the chamber automation system. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Motions. Unfinished business. Bills on third reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4412, requires certain websites to utilize the age verification methods to prevent minors from accessing content.
The Question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having this bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman to 78, Douglas Chiarelli, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 4412 adds a new chapter 49A to the West Virginia Code titled Child Online Protection and Liability. The bill establishes requirements and civil liabilities for commercial entities that knowingly and intentionally publish or distribute sexual material harmful to minors on the internet or through applications when such material constitutes more than 1/3 of the total content on the website or application. Commercial entities subject to the threshold must verify that an individual is 18 years of age or older before granting access to the material. That is the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I would urge passage.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Is there debate on the bill? Gentleman the 5th, Douglas Fluharty, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman yield. Just
yes.
I have some data concerns that were brought up in judiciary and I want to follow up on. This has a section on personally identifiable information, and it states that it would be maintained by an agency. Could you explain that?
What specific information are you referring to?
On line 30, the definition of personally identifiable information, and it means information about an individual. So this could be an adult accessing these websites, and it says it would be this information would be maintained by an agency. Is that a state agency?
That would be related to your digital ID, the state ID, which is maintained by a state agency.
Okay, so how is it maintained once it is uploaded to the internet?
Well, the companies that are doing the verification, whether it's themselves or through a third party, they can only retain the data so long as they are able to perform the age verification. That data is not to be retained, and there are penalties for improper data retention in the bill.
So a third party would control this information, and is there a duration of time that they're limited to?
Only the amount of time it would take for them to verify the age of a purported user.
And this information can include things like social security number, correct?
It could.
It could include things like, from what's in here, their mother's maiden name. Why is that necessary?
It would be up to the company or whatever third party that they're using to collect the information that they deem necessary in order to verify the age of the user according to the standards that we set forward.
And so, okay, now related to the 33rd and the 3rd standard there, how is that measured?
Sure. So I actually did a little bit of research into that because I had a feeling that you were going to ask me. In most states with age verification laws for adult websites, the substantial portion threshold is defined as more than 33 1/3. The laws themselves do not spell out a precise step-by-step measurement method for calculating the percentage. Instead, they leave it as a factual determination, typically enforced through self-assessment by the site, attorney general investigations or enforcement, or court determination if there is some sort of dispute.
So with this legislation, who enforces it? So how do we know as a state whether it qualifies over that standard or not?
There would have to be some sort of challenge, and it's sort of an after-the-fact thing. If someone is disputing the fact that this site does or does not meet the 33 1/3, then there would have to be some sort of proceeding afterwards determined by the attorney general or court determination if there is some sort of lawsuit.
So this would not eliminate other websites like Twitter, for example?
Yeah, the 33 1/3 is typically the standard set forth by half of the country. 25 states have passed this to carve out sites like Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, things like that.
But I guess the question is, how is that reported for the state to understand?
There would only be, no state law provides the detailed formula for actually collecting. The enforcement relies on case-by-case proof rather than.
The sites that are above the 30, what have they done in other states?
There have been no challenges to the 33 1/3 threshold that I know of at this point.
I mean, but what do these companies do? Do they just pull out? What do they do? Do they leave the state?
Well, in some cases we've seen that some companies have decided to stop services in states that they're working in.
Okay. The transactional data, that's what concerns me, from personal and then the transactional. Could you clarify what the difference here? So you have personally identifiable information, then we have what's contemplated here as transactional data. And it says it even can include records from your mortgage.
Yeah, there are certain documents that you can't procure unless you're of a certain age. If a third party or a certain provider wanted to use those documentations to verify the age of the users, they could do that.
And also their educational background and employment entities that they're tied to?
If they determine that those things are necessary to determine the age of the user, they
Okay.
do that.
That's all I have. Thanks for yielding.
Sure.
Very briefly, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman is recognized.
I think we're walking down a tough path here with this identification issues. This is some big government stuff here. I'm hoping the Senate can clean up this bill as it moves over. I think it has good intent behind it, but we have to be careful with this personally identifiable information being maintained or stored by an agency that we really don't know. I think that's a concern for West Virginians, and how that would proceed forward. If there's a data breach of some sort, who's on the hook? Will the state then be liable if there's a data breach? We see these things all the time. So we must be very cognizant that this is some big government stuff, and I think we need to hopefully get the Senate to work on this a little more, but the intent is good, and I'll support the legislation. Thank you.
Question still before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there other debate on the bill? Gentleman, the 57th, Douglas Lewis is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the sponsor yield.
Sure.
Are you familiar with other data breaches, adult find of different websites that have been breached in the past?
In relation to adult websites that are offering pornography, no, but I know that there was a data breach for a website a while ago that offered illicit affairs.
I got you.
But that's the only one that I know of.
So I think the difference between this, if we had those third parties and they had the information like the gentleman from the 5th alluded to, driver's license, mortgage, educational documents, again, if there was a data breach, who would be liable for that?
The liability is shared between whatever entity is doing the age verification, whether it's the site themselves. If they additionally employ a third party to do it, both of them would share liability. It would not fall on the state.
Would not fall on the state?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any thought or any consideration that because these age verifications and identity verifications are so stringent that it would drive people to the dark web?
I haven't seen anything to necessarily support that. There are a lot of companies that are trying to do age verification. They are trying to follow laws that have been set forth by half the country. As far as companies that have their headquarters overseas or something, there isn't really too much that we could do about it on our side, but a lot of companies are actually trying to do this, and they are trying to do this the correct way. There are a number of third-party providers that have popped up willing to do this age verification for these websites, and I imagine that they would want to follow standards and best practices to preserve the integrity of their company.
Okay. In addition, along that same thought process, because of the information that we're uploading, potentially like your identification, a mortgage document, an educational document, mother's maiden last name, is there any consideration or thought that these become centralized hub for hackers?
I would suppose that that's a reasonable concern. However, again, we have portions of the bill that are laid out that are saying that they can only retain the data for as long as it takes to actually verify data. They cannot improperly store data afterwards. There are penalties to that accommodate.
Who enforces those penalties?
That would be the Attorney General.
Attorney General. And how long, from your research and what you know about it, how long is this information stored to do these verifications?
It would be, I'd say, like a minute.
A minute? And is that long enough for a hacker to potentially grab that information?
I couldn't answer that.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Go.
Is there other debate on the bill? If not, shall recognize the gentleman from the 78th, Douglas Shirley, to close debate on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So I appreciate my colleagues' concerns when it comes to data privacy. This bill has been worked on meticulously over the past couple of years by some very gracious members in this body. It's also in line with the laws that have been passed across the country. 25 states now have this. We would be the 26th. I think one of the things that makes this bill so likely to succeed is that it is very, very in line with the Supreme Court ruling that just came down this past June. I think one of the ways that West Virginia's proposed law is superior is that there are additional penalties laid out for improper data retention. So I think that this is the most that we could do right now in order to protect children online when it comes to accessing this harmful material. And look, I know that this isn't a silver bullet, okay? I know that this isn't going to stop every single instance of children online accessing something, because when there is a will, there is a way. What I'm really looking to try and do here is set some sort of guardrail to say, we don't think it's appropriate that an 8-year-old child should have unfettered access to this kind of material without at least something. We have laws in place to stop kids from buying alcohol. We know kids still drink. We have laws in place to stop kids from smoking cigarettes. We know they're still going to get someone to get them a pack of Marlboros, all right? We're not foolish. We understand that's the case. But I think this is the first step that we can do. I think this is the largest step that we could take at this time because it is in line with the ruling that just came down with the Supreme Court. So that is the bill, Mr. Speaker, and I would urge passage. Thank you.
Debate on the bill has now been closed. The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? Lady in the 15th, Douglas Moore, your vote's not registered. Clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On this question, we had 94 ayes, 0 nays, and 5 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4412.
Are there title amendments? If not, the title is read by the clerk will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate. Next bill on third reading.
House Bill 4725, clarifying the disposition of animals subject to animal cruelty treatment.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bill was advanced to third reading yesterday with an amendment pending. The clerk will please report the amendment.
Delegate Young moves to amend the bill. This is HFA Young 2-11.
If there's no objection, shall recognize the sponsor to explain the amendment. Okay, no objections heard. Lady from the... For what purpose of the gentleman from the 55th Douglas Acres seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, it's my understanding that I have a competing amendment in the system. Just want to see which order the amendments will be taken up in.
Okay, are there objections to allowing the Douglas Acres to offer an amendment on third reading of the bill? Okay, no objections are heard. It is the chair's understanding that since there are now 2 amendments filed to the bill, the usual practice would be that the more comprehensive of the 2 would be taken up and put for a vote first, but we will have both amendments explained. Lady from the 56th, Douglas Young's, if lady wishes, if not, okay, gentleman from the 55th Douglas Acres is recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before explaining the amendment, I'm going to explain the bill in just a moment. I can explain the full bill after the amendment stage is over. But this bill started as an attempt to actually do a couple simple things with regard to existing code that deals with animal abuse under 61-8-19D, namely to clarify the disposition of animals that have been abused or neglected, and to also allow the court to order increased windows that an individual convicted of those crimes may no longer possess or own an animal. That's just how this bill started. Yesterday, just before third reading, there was an amendment presented. It wasn't even in the system when the bill was called up for third reading that is attempting to turn this bill into something else, and that's what we're dealing with now. And I want to say before I even present this amendment, which I hate even have to talk about this, we have a lot of kids in the room today. We've had 2 bills that deal with things that are not the most pleasant subjects. But I want to start out by saying that the amendments, and I'll just get straight to it, these amendments deal with prohibiting sexual contact between a person and an animal, which is a horrific thing to even think about. No idea why this kind of thing even has to be discussed as whether it's legal or not, because it's so morally wrong, you would think no one would do it in the first place. But I want to be clear that in West Virginia, that's already a crime. That under our animal cruelty statute, any reasonable person would agree that it's cruel to treat an animal in that way and to commit that type of misconduct. The reason why I feel so strongly about expressing that is because for years, we have seen people, mostly from some out-of-state special interest groups, who have used us as a punching bag to say that we're the last state in the country that doesn't outlaw that type of misconduct. And it's just absolutely 100% not true. You can go online right now, use Google or your favorite AI platform, and see that there have been people who have been charged and prosecuted for sexual misconduct with animals. Again, something that's terrible to even have to talk about, but we have to today, for years. It is a crime. Unless you think that doing that to an animal is not cruel, then I guess you wouldn't think so. But I believe everybody in this room would say it is cruel, and it is a crime. It's disgusting, and it's criminal. And I can also tell you that as someone who's married to a former prosecutor, she was in an office where that crime was prosecuted while she worked there. So aside from the cases you can find online, I can tell you from firsthand experience that I have a wife who's in an office that prosecuted those crimes when they were committed. I could tell you the details of some of the stories, some of which, again, are horrific, but I won't. But what I can promise you is that someone who treated animal cruelty under those circumstances has been prosecuted in this state for decades. I am so tired of people making fun of us and using us as a punching bag on any subject, but especially this one, since we're talking about it today. I've gotten the meme that says that we're the last state in the country that allows this. That is untrue. But in response to the amendment offered by one of our colleagues yesterday at the last minute, I initially thought that I may just stand up and oppose it and say these very same things, that this is already a crime, this is unnecessary, that it is cruel to treat an animal this way, that people have been prosecuted for 4 decades in West Virginia. But I decided today instead to finally drive a stake through the heart of this ridiculous and insulting narrative that gets used against us over and over again, because we're one of the last places in America where it's politically correct to make fun of the people who live here. Good, hardworking people, salt of the earth people, a place where this almost never happens. And how many times do we hear that? Why are we legislating this? This almost never happens. Why do you want to pass this election law bills? How often is there election fraud? Why are we even bringing this bill up? That's some of the opposition that we hear to some of the bills, including an election fraud bill that came up just this week. Why are we passing this law? When was the last time this happened? This is a waste of our time. But yesterday, we get an amendment to prohibit something that's already a crime that almost never happens here. But because we keep getting punched in the face with this stupid narrative, which isn't true, I would like to end this discussion once and for all today. So I'm offering this amendment that clarifies and clearly states that sexual contact between a human and an animal, which is immoral and sinful and disgusting, and which is already illegal, there's no doubt about it anymore that it's a crime in this state. It already is, but let's be clear today that there's no more question. And I know what's going to happen, and again, when the amendment came up yesterday, no matter what happens today, no matter how right we are in our vote, no matter how clear we are that this is already a crime, there are going to be memes and stories on some sort of activist websites that we have finally done the right thing in West Virginia, when it's already a crime. But we'll get made fun of at least one more time over this. People are going to use us as a punching bag at least one more time to raise some money for their organization, or just to make fun of us because they think it's a game or a joke. When we're trying to attract people to our state for jobs, we're trying to make sure that people have a way to make a living here and they want to live in this beautiful state. But we'll get made fun of again because we have to address this issue, which is already a crime, but make sure that once and for all we never have to deal with it again. So it is illegal. I guess we're going to make it extra illegal today. That's fine. I want to tell you, I'm not going to address my colleague's amendment in full, but I have to talk about it just a little bit to tell you why I'm asking you to support my amendment instead of hers. Again, an amendment which was dropped right before third reading yesterday. Just want to make clear, I'm happy to work with anybody in this room. But this bill was on subcommittee for 2 days, standing committee for 2 days, gets passed out, then is down here for 3 days after reported before this amendment was dropped right before third reading. And that's fine. Sometimes that's necessary. But this amendment, I'm not sure if it was written at the last minute or just wasn't written carefully, but it conflicts with the bill that we're going to vote on here in a moment. It actually lessens some of the crimes and prohibitions that are in the bill that we're going to vote on. And I'll give you an example within the bill. This is one of the primary reasons that I proposed this bill and why our committee worked on it and supported it and sent it down to you all to get to vote on it. Under this bill that you have in front of you, if you're convicted of misdemeanor animal abuse, a judge may prohibit you from owning or possessing an animal currently under law for 5 years. If we pass this bill, the judge has discretion to say 5 years up to life if the crime was bad enough. Under current law, if you're convicted under a felony for animal abuse, you can't possess or own an animal for 15 years. This bill we're going to vote on takes that from 15 years to potentially life if your conduct was bad enough. That's one of the primary thrusts and purposes of the bill we're supposed to vote on. The amendment, which I would ask you to support mine instead, the amendment actually conflicts with the bill and says that if you're guilty of the sexual abuse of an animal, the judge can only prohibit the ownership or possession of an animal for 5 years. Doesn't even contain the same 5-year to life language that's in the bill that we're going to vote on. It then says if you're guilty of felony sexual abuse of an animal, it's 15 years, which is current law. Well, the bill we're supposed to vote on has a potential for 15 years to life. So the competing amendment is actually weaker in that regard than the bill we're supposed to vote on. I would ask you not to vote for the amendment which will actually make the prohibitions against animal ownership weaker. I'm asking you to vote for my amendment, which if it passes would make the other amendment moot, to maintain the strength of the bill that's in front of you and not to water it back down. So again, I hate that we even have to discuss this, and I'll tell you that I'm not going to ask the members of my caucus to raise your hands because we're not allowed to do that, but I predicted this would happen on the House floor. I predicted there would be an amendment dealing with sexual misconduct between people and animals when this bill came down to the floor. I knew it was going to happen. I was prepared to deal with it. I hated that it happened because it just makes us look ridiculous. Because it's already a crime. Now, I've heard anecdotal stories that there have been some prosecutors who have dismissed these cases and maybe use an excuse, like maybe they didn't have, there was a defect in the evidence, or maybe there's a defect in the witness statement, or who knows what, and the prosecutor, instead of telling the victim or whoever complainant may have been that there was a problem in the investigation, I think sometimes they probably just say, hey, sorry, the law doesn't cover this, and they use that as their cover. I can't imagine why any reasonable prosecutor wouldn't prosecute someone for cruelty of an animal if they commit this type of misconduct. I've heard stories that sometimes that's happened, that some cases have been dismissed, but they shouldn't be, and shame on those prosecutors who've done it. But I can tell you again, there have been people who have been prosecuted and convicted for this crime already. So that's it. I love this state. I love the people. I've been tired of this since I was a little kid, people making fun of us. We're better than that. And let's just put an end to this stupid narrative once and for all. I urge passage of my amendment. Thank you.
The first of the two amendments has been explained. Chair will now recognize lady from the 56th, Delegate Young, to explain the second of the two primary amendments.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. First, I want to apologize to everyone for starting so late today. We were trying to work this out. My amendment was put in right at the start of second reading yesterday because I realized it fit into this bill. But the bill has been introduced. It's been sitting in the Judiciary Committee for several years. I've talked to quite a few of you about it over the time. And my amendment is substantially different than the chairman's amendment. It lays out a couple different crimes. It has a couple different elements. But I've been putting this bill forward and now this amendment forward for several years, and I get a call from Charleston Police probably once every couple months about prosecutors that drop these cases. And recently I saw a policeman and he stopped me and begged me to introduce the bill again. And so I saw an opportunity to do it in this bill. And we would be the 50th state that would have this explicitly in code, which I don't want to deal with this on the floor either, but the only way to get something into the law is to run it through the legislature. And I mean, I think that my amendment's fairly extensive, but quite frankly, I think the gentleman's amendment accomplishes the goal, which is to make sure that this is a crime. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I would ask for unanimous consent to withdraw my amendment and be added as a co-sponsor of the chairman's amendment.
Are there objections? No objections are heard. Reformation will be so made. Amendment will be so withdrawn. Question now is on the amendment as sponsored by the gentleman and explained by the gentleman from the 55th. Is there debate on the amendment? Is there debate on the amendment? If not, those in favor of adoption of the amendment will please say aye. Aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares the amendment adopted. Clerk will please read the bill a third time as amended.
House Bill 4725, clarifying the disposition of animals subject to animal cruelty treatment.
The question before the House is, shall the bill pass? Are there objections to having the bill explained in lieu of having the bill read? No objections are heard. Gentleman of the 55th, Douglas Akers, to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With the addition of the amendment that we just discussed, this bill clarifies the authority of the court upon dismissal of a charge to order disposition of an animal under circumstances that protect the animal. The court may return the animal, order an appropriate place of custody, order the animal euthanized, and to be clear, that's already allowed by law. This is not a new addition to what's already legal. Under certain circumstances, based upon the sworn testimony of a licensed veterinarian, animal control officer, or any disposition the court deems appropriate, and also clarifies that upon conviction, the court may impose up to a lifetime ban for animal possession for both felonies and misdemeanors, depending upon the court's discretion. It's a brief description of the bill, Mr. Speaker. Urge passage.
The question again before the House is, shall the bill pass? Is there debate on the bill? Is there debate on the bill? If not, those in favor of passage of the bill will please vote aye. Those opposed will please vote no. The clerk will prepare the machine. Has every member voted? If so, the clerk will please close the machine and ascertain the result. On that question, there were 93 ayes, 1 nay, and 5 members absent. A majority of members having voted in the affirmative. The chair declares the bill passed. The clerk will please report the title.
House Bill 4725.
Are there title amendments?
Delegate Akers moves to amend the title.
The question is on adoption of the title amendment. Those in favor of adoption of the title amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares the title amendment adopted. The title as amended by the House will be and remain the title of the bill. The clerk will please communicate the action of the House to the Senate for the bills on third reading.
House Bill 4801, defining
Gentleman the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent to postpone action 1 day.
Are there objections to postponing action 1 day on the bill? No objections are heard. The bill will be postponed by 1 day. Are there further bills on third reading? If not, bills on second reading.
Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1, Small Business Growth Act.
Are there amendments?
Delegates Chris, Akers, and Riley move to amend the committee substitute.
Are there objections to having the amendment explained in lieu of having the amendment read? No objections are heard. Gentleman from the 72nd, Douglas Riley, to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 1 amendment. House Bill 4003 is the same as Senate Bill 1. This amendment incorporates the changes made to House Bill 4003 by the Finance Committee and makes a few additional corrective changes. This amendment makes non-substantive technical cleanup and clarifying corrections, many similar in nature to the corrections made in the Senate version. It also makes 2 substantive amendments, which I'll describe now. It adds language in 5B-12-2 to the definition of state tax liability to provide that no provision for the application of tax credits against the insurance tax may be construed to operate or reduce distributions and allocations otherwise required to be made. This was done in order to make sure that we specified that there would be no impact to the volunteer fire department, municipal pensions, teachers' retirement, flood insurance program, or medical schools. The second change was in 5B-12-5-A to make clear that no tax credit against the state insurance tax liability may be made prior to the calendar year of 2029 to ensure that the earliest they can be taken is 2029. I urge adoption.
You've heard the amendment explained. The question now is, shall the amendment be adopted? Is there debate on the amendment? If not, those in favor of adoption of the amendment will please say aye. Those opposed will please say no. The ayes have it. Chair declares that amendment adopted. Are there other amendments to the bill? If not, the bill will be advanced to third reading. Next bill on second reading.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4003, West Virginia Small Business Growth Act.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4098 to restore the right of a person to sit on a jury has been restored upon expungement of one's record.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4462, prohibition on cell-cultured products.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4463 relating to Board of Sanitarians.
Gentleman the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent to postpone action 1 day.
Are there objections to postponing action 1 day on the bill? No objections are heard. The bill will be so postponed. Further bills on second reading.
House Bill 4561, clarifying the sheriff's authority to hire within their office.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4602, relating to requiring the Department of Human Services to establish a pilot program to contract for supplemental caseworker aid services for the Bureau for Social Services.
Are there amendments? If not, the bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4784, extending the qualified opportunity zones until July 1, 2032.
Gentleman the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Unanimous consent to commit the bill to the Committee on Finance.
Gentleman, the first ask unanimous consent that the bill be committed to the Committee on Finance. Are there objections? No objections are heard. Bill will be committed to the Committee on Finance. Are there further bills on second reading? If not, bills on first reading.
Senate Bill 208, exempting certain military records from public release.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4865, providing for a program allowing election official trainees to be appointed as election officials.
Bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4881, relating to obtaining title to abandoned or junked motor vehicles abandoned on the property or place of business of an automobile dealer.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 4996, relating to bail in cases involving terroristic threats to schools or children.
Bill will be advanced.
House Bill 4997, relating to residency restrictions for persons convicted of terroristic threats.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5021, relating to the limited circumstances in which a registered nurse may administer anesthetics.
Bill will be advanced.
Committee substitute for House Bill 5096, relating to removing services from requiring a certificate of need.
Bill will be advanced. Are there further bills on first reading? If not, leaves of absence. Gentleman from the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For our colleagues, delegates Farrell, Kump, McCormick, Doug Smith, and Vance.
Are there objections to leaves of absence being granted? No objections are heard, and those leaves of absence will be granted. Introductions. Miscellaneous business. Gentleman from the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Move subject to announcements. The House adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Are there announcements? Gentleman from the first.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Rules Committee will meet tomorrow in your Speaker's Conference Room at 10:45.
Gentleman from the 72nd, Doug Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Finance will meet tomorrow, Friday, February 13th at 9 a.m. for a committee meeting and for a budget presentation from Health Facilities. The agenda will be posted.
Gentleman from the 41st, Delegate Maynor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Judiciary will meet immediately following the floor session, with the Subcommittee on Legal Services, Homeland Security, and Courts meeting immediately after in the Judiciary Committee Room. Your Judiciary Committee and subcommittees will meet on Friday, February 13th in the Judiciary Committee Room. Committee on Judiciary will meet at 9 a.m. Republican members of the committee will caucus in the chairman's office at 8:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Courts will meet at 9:45 a.m. Subcommittee on Homeland Security will meet at 10 a.m. And finally, your Subcommittee on Legal Services will meet at 10:15 a.m. and all agendas will be posted.
Gentleman from the 68th, Delegate Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Standing Committee on Government Organization will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus at 12:45 in the chair's office. Your Subcommittee on Agriculture, Commerce, and Tourism will meet today at 2 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus at 1:45 in the chair's office. Your Subcommittee on Local Governments will meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted. Republicans will caucus in the chair's office at 12:45. And your Subcommittee on Government Administration will meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. in the Government Organization Committee Room. The agenda is posted, and Republicans will caucus in the chair's office immediately following the floor session.
Gentleman 92nd, Doug Height.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Health and Human Resources will meet today, Thursday, February 12th at 3:30 p.m. in the Health and Human Resources Committee Room. Republican members will caucus at 3 p.m. The agenda is posted. Thank you.
Gentleman from the 43rd, Delegate Tony.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Subcommittee on Public Education will meet today at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room. The agenda is posted. Your Subcommittee on Educational Choice will meet tomorrow, February 13th at 1 p.m. in the Education Committee Room. The agenda will be posted.
Are there further announcements? If not, the question is on the motion that the House adjourn until 11 a.m. tomorrow. Those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted. The House is adjourned until 11 a.m. tomorrow.